Sportin Beards. What's up, Doyce?
Hey, man. It's episode 37.
30.
Guess,
Dang it.
guess
I
what?
did it again.
I actually
You
looked
actually
it up this
looked?
time.
Very nice.
You want to know what the list of candidates is
Probably very slim.
for episode number 37?
Is it like
Sh-
one person?
Sean Alexander.
Ooh,
That's the
that's
list.
a good one. Hey, that's a good one too.
It's a good
I'm
one,
down with that.
but that's the whole list.
I'm not surprised. I could not think of one.
Yeah, 37's not a well-worn number. There's not a lot of
No.
37s.
And I still couldn't even think of a 36.
Yeah, I didn't even look it up. I'm sure they're
Yeah.
out there. I bet there's more 36s than there are 37s.
Yeah, probably. Just for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know.
Numbers.
So we got some sports.
Correct. It is 7:56 Central Time
Yep.
here in the great state of Texas.
Got some Monday Night Football on. We thought we were going to have some baseball, but
Rain delay.
not yet. The
New
Yankees
York
are
is still crying. that
they're
it's going
obviously
five.
obviously scared to play the Guardians, and they prayed to the Yankee baseball gods of Ruth and Maris and Gehrig to bring down some rain. What's funny
Yep.
is that it was like, they saw this coming. They knew that this window, this 7 to 9 Eastern window, was going to be problematic because of the rain. They knew it was coming. Why didn't they just be like, hey, it sucks. Let's just play at 3 Eastern.
Right.
Because they were showing like videos and pictures at Yankee Stadium throughout the day. And it's like, it was a beautiful day earlier.
Yeah, because guess what? The Braves had to play all day games. We
Right.
didn't get a single primetime game.
Like, I get it. It's
And
a game
we're World
5. You want your
Series
game
champs.
5 to be in prime time. And, for baseball, you want the Yankees in prime time. But
9:30 Eastern ain't primetime.
We're
We're past primetime now.
Right. Like, what's better for the two teams that are playing tonight? Is it to play at 9:30 Eastern? Is it to not be able to get the game in today and have to play tomorrow and then travel to Houston to play on Wednesday? Or is it to just have them play at 3 Eastern, have the game over by the time? Unless you're going to get like an Astros Mariners, the game would have been over by the time the rain hit.
So I'm guessing, because I didn't really think about this ahead of time, but I'm guessing it's probably because of attendance. So
Maybe.
typically when games get moved, they typically will get moved later.
Right.
And usually people already are anticipating to not have shit to do after the game.
Yeah.
But to move it earlier would be kind of difficult.
It wouldn't be ideal. But playing
But
at
still,
9:30 Eastern or playing tomorrow is not ideal either.
I agree. It should be more about the players and the team than it should be the fans. But then again, what is it all for?
Yeah, and I hadn't really thought about the moving the game up affecting the fans that much. I mean,
that's the only thing I can think of is why they didn't do that.
For a do or die game, like, you're just going to call in for work.
I mean, yeah, I would have.
You're just going to be like,
going to work anyways,
hey,
even if it was at 7 o'clock.
Right. Hey, Mr. Bossman. So you heard about the Yankees? We're both Yankee fans. We live in New York. We're, talking like this. That's terrible.
No, one of them's
Awful.
a Boston fan. Yeah, that was bad.
That was the
Sorry,
worst.
We like you guys.
Impression that I've done.
No, the boss is actually a Red Sox fan that just moved there, and so
right. He's like, nah, you got to work.
Oh, that's funny.
But
by the way, I know we're gonna get into some of this, but did you hear about the accusations about the Braves?
No.
So apparently, since they didn't do very good during the day games, they're trying to say that the Braves cheated during night games.
Oh.
Using flashing lights in some way And so that's why they were so upset they didn't get a night game. And it's like, no, like the main reason we're upset we didn't get a night game is because we're the defending World Series champs. We should get a primetime game.
The Astros
We
been
shouldn't have
doing
to
this
be.
for a long time.
Well, I know that the main thing is because we're the East Coast. And that's why the Dodgers and Padres are always like super late and everything. I kind of get that. But still, like the Braves should have at least had one game at like 7 o'clock.
Yeah, spread the love out a little bit. Just
Exactly.
a little bit.
They're the defending World Series champs. And then
Yeah.
the Yankees get almost always prime.
I
Don't
get
e-
it, man.
mm.
I get it. The Astros have been the best team in the American League for 6 years and have not
That's true.
played a
You have
division
actually.
series in prime time.
I do remember you complaining to me before in the
Yep.
past about the
It's
Astros
just the
getting
way that it
screwed on
is.
times too. That's true.
It's unless you're playing the Yankees in the first round or the Dodgers in the first round, you're not getting a primetime game. You just aren't.
That's stupid.
So,
Anyways, it doesn't matter because obviously the Braves are out now. So
yep. Yeah. Which we didn't mention it last time. I didn't want to rub salt in the wound or anything, but now that there's been a couple of days, I'm going to mention it. The bat spike was pretty damn awesome.
Too soon. It was too soon. Too early in the game.
I agree with the game situation. It's not great, but just the spike in general, like
Just the fact that he did it.
pretty awesome. So just wanted to throw that out there.
Looked like Eckler touchdown. Yep. Eckler touchdown. It is now 10-6 Denver. By the way, Denver scored with their rookie tight end in his first game of the season. He had been on the IR for, I believe it was a hamstring. And he made his debut tonight, and he actually already scored like a 20-yard touchdown.
Stupid Russell Wilson.
Hey, he was just waiting for his tight end.
All right, so today we're gonna do my top 25. Probably not gonna spend as much time as usual. I don't think. I'm gonna try not to. I'm gonna try and rush through it a little bit.
Well, the hard part about that is that there is quite a bit of shakeup in the real one. So that's why. But we can try and blow through it. I might have a couple things to add on for you. I might just shut my mouth too.
No, I mean if you take issue with anything, feel free, of course.
All right.
So
well, no, I mean, Georgia's number one. I'm not going to take. You might. Let's see. Let's see what happens.
All right. So the two teams that are falling out is NC State and Kansas. Both got their second loss. Kansas lost to a not very good Oklahoma team, so they're going to need to win a couple to get back in probably. Coming in to replace them is Maryland at 25. They are 6-2, I believe.
Did they lose Tagovailoa?
They did, so they may not stick around. Okay. It looked like a pretty bad injury.
Yeah, I know he got carded.
LSU's at 24. Don't feel great about it, but they did look pretty good. Mississippi State falls from 14 to 23 after they lost to Kentucky. Texas moves up from 23 to 22 after they escaped Iowa State.
Wow, you're being a little less generous than the 8 people.
Well, I mean, I've still got the 2 lost teams are kind of towards the bottom. So
I feel you.
Illinois moved up from 22 to 21. UNC up from 21 to 20. I think they're still not ranked at the AP. Or they 22. May have gotten in at the okay. I know they weren't ranked last week.
Yeah, they got them at 22 right now.
Cincinnati stays at 19. They're one of the few that didn't move around. Kentucky goes from 25 to 18 after they beat Mississippi State, got Will Levis back, and looked like Kentucky again now that their quarterback is back in there.
Agreed. That should look good when Georgia beats them.
Yeah. Penn State is the biggest faller. They fall from 7 to 17 after they got absolutely destroyed. Even as high as I have been on Penn State, they got destroyed. They're going to move down.
They did. They got dismantled on all facets of the game.
Facets, yes.
I almost said assets.
The second biggest faller is USC, who falls from 8 to 16 after they lost to Utah.
I can see Caleb Williams crying right now.
Lincoln Riley probably too.
Yeah.
Utah is the biggest climber this week. They go from 24 to 15 after they beat USC. So they are the highest ranked 2-loss team that I have at
In
14.
Ballsy fashion.
Or
Ballsy
15.
fashion.
Yeah, to
they
go for
they,
2 in that situation, that's ballsy.
right. Agreed. Yeah, no, they have them. They're the highest 2-loss team as well, also at 15. So y'all are pretty even so far.
Yeah, as we've gone on, my ranking has gotten a little bit closer. No, I'm not gonna say it that way. The AP's ranking has gotten closer to my ranking as we've gone on.
Okay.
At 14 is Kansas State. 13 is Wake Forest. Oklahoma State falls from 9 to 12. Another big climber here. Syracuse goes from 20 to 11.
Ooh, okay. They got them at 14.
Yeah, at this point in the season, we're 7 weeks in. If you're undefeated, you're gonna get moved up in my ranking until you lose, which that might happen this week because
They are the furthest down undefeated team still.
Same for me. And I've got 2 1-loss teams ahead of them.
They have 1, 2, 3, 4,
or like 5.
5. Yeah, 5.
Oregon goes from 13 to number 10. Syracuse plays Clemson this week, so we'll find out how for real Syracuse is.
Isn't it Oklahoma State, Texas this weekend too?
It is.
Ooh, that's a big one.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
So inside the top 10 now at number 9, falling from number 3, Alabama.
Whoa.
So dropped them all the way to 9. I know the AP only dropped them to 6. But
I can't argue too much with that because they did. I mean,
all the teams ahead of them,
game, though.
All the teams ahead of them in my rankings are undefeated.
Fair.
Some of these teams are going to fall off fairly quickly. Alabama still controls their own destiny. They went out, they're in the playoff 100%.
Right. Oh, yeah.
They've still got Ole Miss on their schedule. If they beat Ole Miss, then they're almost a shoe-in to get to the SEC title where they would play either Georgia or Tennessee.
Right.
So,
and that's going to come down to the winner of that matchup.
Yep. Might be in the same situation as last year where the team in the East, whether it be Tennessee or Georgia, probably going to be undefeated, whoever wins that game.
And then if they lose the SEC championship, they're going to probably make it anyway.
Be in the playoffs anyway. So
yep.
It could be the same situation as last year.
Agreed.
Number 8, I've got Ole Miss moving up from 11 to 8. UCLA jumps from 10 to number 7.
You've liked them a little bit more than they have.
I have, yeah. I respect that team.
They got them
a
at
veteran
9,
team.
So y'all aren't far off.
Another big climber, TCU from 12 to up to 6. They're undefeated. They've got a couple of really good wins, and
Max Duggan's looking good. Their run game's looking good.
We'll see how long. We'll see how long they're able to keep this up. Who knows what's going to end up happening.
My beard keeps getting stuck in the mic.
4 and 5, I've kept the same. So Clemson's at number 5, Michigan at 4.
Okay.
And I've jumped Tennessee up to 3. So from 6 to 3, I had them at 6 before. They're at 3 now.
Okay.
And the top 2 have remained the same from last week.
You son of a bitch.
Georgia beating Vanderbilt. I don't care what they could have beat Vanderbilt 275 to nothing. Beating Vanderbilt's not going to move you above somebody that didn't lose.
They didn't even play.
They didn't play.
We have more wins.
They didn't play. They didn't do anything to move down. And Georgia, like I said, beating Vandy. Like, you're supposed to beat Vandy really big. They beat Vandy
honestly,
really big.
No, with how you had it last week, I'm not surprised. If you would have had Georgia 1 and Ohio State 2, I'm sure it would have stayed the same as well. So
yeah, it wouldn't have changed.
Because what happened between both of those teams didn't really impact how they look.
The only way that my top two would have changed is if Alabama had beaten Tennessee, or if Tennessee had just blown the doors off of Alabama.
Yeah,
Those are the only way.
Tennessee would have taken the spot, and then
Right.
Alabama might have taken the spot if they ended up beating. Yeah, I hear you.
So
Good
teams to watch. These are just teams that have either one or two losses that I feel like you could argue as being ranked, and I wouldn't, if you had these at 24-25 instead of LSU, Maryland, or Michigan, Mississippi State or anything, I wouldn't argue necessarily with you. But Washington, Oregon State, Tulane, UCF, Pitt, Purdue, Liberty, South Carolina, and South Alabama. So
no Jackson State.
No, Jackson State.
Now they got Tulane at 25. So
yeah, I almost went with Tulane at 25. Of course, I do these on Saturday night, so it's before the AP comes out. So I'm not basing my rankings off the AP. The AP's basing theirs off of mine.
Yeah, they look you up. And,
mine comes out first.
They double check with Doyce.
That's right.
And then you got to start putting it on Twitter.
Yeah.
On our
I should.
Account. Yeah,
I should put it out the night before Saturday night.
There you go. Yeah, jump ahead. Yeah, jump ahead on them.
Yeah, I might start doing that. Of course, I typically, I didn't this week, but I typically wake up Sunday morning and end up changing things. Yeah, but I felt pretty good about this week. All right, so do you want to do NFL first, or do you want to do the baseball stuff first?
Let's do some baseball stuff first.
Okay.
So I can't remember how far along we were. Did we see the end of the Yankees Guardians?
We did. We reacted that live on the pod.
That's what I thought. Okay, that's right.
And I think it was 2-0 Dodgers.
I believe it was
when we ended.
Yes.
Which is crazy because we were recording until like 11.
I know, right? See, they're getting those prime time. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
late games. So another, not just another, like 111 wins.
Yep,
111 wins.
Have you been seeing some of the discourse around this?
Yeah, a lot of it. And
like there was a guy on Twitter, like a guy with a check mark, a guy that covers sports in LA for the LA Times, that was actually suggesting that we go back to the pre-1969 model of playoffs, which is just the World Series. Lunatic.
Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, I understand
being frustrated.
Right. I mean, obviously anything like that is coming from a team that just lost.
Mm-hmm.
But I do kind of understand somehow figuring out a way to make the regular season maybe mean a little bit more, since it is so long. Now, I see why other people argue it's just like that in every other sport. The regular season is one thing, and then you make the tournament, and then you have the postseason. However, baseball is so long. I feel like the regular season does actually need to mean something. Now, I understand now we've got multiple teams getting buys, so that does kind of help. But in this way, in a way, we're kind of not sure if that helps or hurts.
Yeah, and I mean, I've put forward that as a theory, way back in March when we first started this pod, and that was one of the first things we talked about was the new postseason format and how it was going to affect the teams that got the bye. We talked about that very early on in this podcast.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, you had the best explanation as to why it didn't affect the Astros as much as others.
But the Dodgers had that same reasoning.
I was going to say, yeah, the Dodgers were kind of in that same boat as you. They were able to kind of coast into the playoffs. They didn't necessarily have to be fully ramped up or fully ramped down.
You know what I think the difference between the Astros and the Dodgers are when it comes to this?
Well, I know the main difference, in my opinion, would be their bullpen. That's really
the bullpen kind of is
boiled down to.
They didn't do a great job of making sure they had the bullpen depth at the at the trade deadline, and some of their guys kind of fell apart. Part of it, though, and one of the main reasons why the Astros have such a deep bullpen and have so many guys to throw, is the Astros have about 7 starting pitchers that like you legit would be okay starting in a playoff game. The Dodgers this season, I think that more than the time off, more than anything else, their pitching staff, like when you really look at their pitching staff that they brought into the postseason.
Well, if you look at the pitching staff they brought
thin.
into the regular season versus what they brought into the postseason,
Right.
it's different because obviously they lost Walker Buehler, and they
Dustin
lost
May isn't the same.
Exactly. He's coming back from injury and still not looking right. So there's definitely
Kershaw missed some time.
Yeah, Kershaw's missed quite a bit of time. And that's kind of par for the course for him at this point. But it's
their pitching is very thin.
But honestly,
like looking at their roster for a team that won 111 games, like their pitching staff is really thin.
That's what honestly makes it even crazier that they won 111 games. That's what's kind of crazy to me is that they were able to do that with the pitching that they had. I told you every time I went over to my grandpa's house, he was bitching about their pitching. Little rhyme intended.
It's just like it's very thin. It was very thin. And then when you add on top of that a guy like Dave Roberts, who does not let his starting pitchers go 3 times through the order. He doesn't let them get beyond 5, maybe 6 innings. So you have to really rely on that bullpen. In order to do that, you have to have 7 guys in that bullpen that you legitimately trust. I'm going to go back again to the Astros. In that 18-inning game, I felt comfortable with every single pitcher that came out of the bullpen in that game. And you know what? Every single pitcher that the Astros had in their bullpen, except for Jose Urquidy, who I also feel comfortable with, pitched in that game. Every single one of them, I felt comfortable with them having the game on the line.
Yeah, the Dodgers, that's the big difference.
A Dodgers fan can't say
bullpen.
That. A Dodgers fan cannot say that.
Well, and then you got teams like the Padres who they have starters that are actually going deep. They let their starters go deep, and then they have a couple guys that they rely on to finish the job, and that's working for them. Like Yu Darvish going deep into games, Joe Musgrove always going deep into games. So I mean, that's got to be the difference right there. Is really the pitching for the Dodgers, and it sucks because I mean Walker Buehler, former Cy Young candidate, like hell of a pitcher. You lose him for the season, that's a tough blow.
Yeah.
But I do kind of side with some of those Dodger fans out there, not the crazy ones that want some crazy stuff to happen. But I do kind of agree in a way that the regular season might need to mean something a little bit more than it does.
I mean,
I don't know the answer. I don't know how to fix that. But
in my perfect world,
seems like that.
In my perfect world, we go back to what we had before the wild card game, and we do 3 division winners,
division series.
Yeah, do 3 division winners and then 2 or 1 wild card. Wild card faces, number 1 seed. Either, you do that or maybe you realign divisions to where it's 2
that's the hard part,
divisions in each league, maybe.
I do still like having more postseason teams.
Yeah, I mean,
that's where it's hard. It's really hard.
I'm not the biggest fan of expanded postseasons. I'm not.
Not expanding it past what it is now, because right now I think is like the limit. But
what I don't want is, and as much as I love the NBA postseason, I don't want for it to be like that in baseball because the season is too long. NBA season is too long. It's way too long. The regular season, you don't need 82 games to decide who the 16 best teams are. You don't. You really don't.
It is usually decided a couple weeks before the end of the season. But I like that because they get to do the whole play everybody thing. So I kind of like that.
Yeah, it's a more balanced schedule for sure.
Right. So that's why I do like how it is. But it does seem like 2 separate seasons. Like you got the regular season and the postseason, and it literally is like completely different. Yeah. But now, with that one, you have less times do the low seeds end up winning.
That is true. Baseball is more random. Baseball is way
so
more random. That's why you
exactly.
need a long season to determine who the best teams are, because it's so random.
Right. And since it is such a long season, why not just make the playoff series all 7?
I could get behind that.
Because
Making them all
that is
7
gonna
aside
that
from the wild
helps
card.
balance it out a little. Well, yeah, the wild. If we keep the wild card, that's still got to be bing bang
But at the same
in and
time,
out.
what I say to those Dodgers fans and the Braves fans, and well, not as much tonight, the Yankee fans, I guess, but what I say to those two fan bases
Mets.
that start talking about, you know, the 5-game series and really emphasizing the 5-game series. If these were 5-game series, you'd be down 3-1. How often does a team
You
come
mean
back from 3-1?
7 versus
If they
5?
were
Yeah,
7,
yeah.
if these series were
I know what you
7-game
mean.
series, you'd be down 3-1. So
I
I don't
know.
really want to hear you bitch about, you know, it being a 5-game series and that's why you lost. You didn't lose because it was a 5-game series. You lost because the other team beat you 3 out of 4 times.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely right about that. I just with it, I'll say more the Dodgers. So I'm trying to be a little bit not as biased. Really, more the Dodgers, I think, would have been able to maybe come back from a 3-1 deficit because they were so good and because the chances of them losing 3 games in a row, and that's kind of the same thing with the Braves. The chances of the Braves actually losing 3 games in a row when they had a 14-game win streak at some point in the season, the Dodgers had a double-digit win streak during the season. I think they do both actually have more of a chance than most being
Even with
down
their
3-1.
even with their really thin pitching.
Well, the Braves would have been able to come back out there with
With
Fried.
Max Fried, yeah. The Braves,
So
the Braves are the better team, and I think than a 7-game series that might have played out, but again, who knows?
I know. I'm just
With the
saying
Dodgers,
that might help. At least it would help you feel better about it. Make it go 5. Maybe make it go 6 instead of just the 4 because they won 3 of them. You know what I mean? I
yeah.
don't know. It
I mean,
just
I get it. I get it. I get
just
being
because it is
frustrated.
such
I
a
get being
long
angry.
season to be done so quickly, even if it wasn't my team
Yeah.
in a way.
Like I said,
You
I'd
know?
be fine if they went to 7-game series in the division series. You know, basketball used to have 5-game series in the first round, and they scrapped that and went to the 7. You know, it
I
only adds
think it just helps actually decide who's a better team in the
yeah.
long run, and still you're gonna have the not better team still win some of those. I mean, it's gonna happen.
Yeah. But I'd be fine
Red
with
Red
that.
Sox coming back on the Yankees back in '04. I mean, they weren't necessarily the better team. They just got hot when it mattered.
I think they might have been.
Going
Those
back
teams
and
were so
watching,
close. Those teams were
they
so
actually
close.
were really close. But when you're watching that Jeter doc and you see how much those Yankees built up to that and that team, that was like their max. To see that the Red Sox to be able to come back from that Yankee team was incredible.
Yeah.
But anyways, I don't know why I thought of that. It was
This
magical.
the next series are going to start before we record again. So
Right.
what's your pick for the National League?
I'm gonna have to go with the Padres here.
I agree. I think it's going to be a 6-game series.
I think so too. It. I'm telling you right now, I ain't putting any money on it.
Oh God, no.
That is a tough decision because the Phillies, they proved it. They can hit. They can hit.
They can hit, and they've got
So
a couple of horses up top.
exactly, and that's a perfect recipe. But then again, the Padres just took out the one of the best regular season baseball teams of all time,
Yep.
and almost with ease. So it's that's a tough one. But I think I'm leaning Padres. I just feel like it sounds weird. It doesn't make sense, but I feel like they have a little bit more experience together. And I
Yeah, I
know that
mean, it's not wrong.
um
Maybe
but then
it's
again,
close.
it's close because like Soto's new to the bunch, but like
They have
Machado's been.
they have more overall postseason experience on their roster.
I think so too. And I think that their horses up top might be a little bit better than the
Yeah.
Phillies.
It's close. It's
They
very
both have a
close.
really deep lineup, and they're both scary to pitch to. So,
Yeah.
I
No
don't know.
doubt there.
I would not be surprised if that one goes 7, and I wouldn't be surprised if either of them won. I don't see it being
A sweep.
4 or 5. Yeah, I don't see it being a sweep or
No.
even like a 5 game. I see
I
it
don't think
going
so
at
either.
least 6.
I think 6 is the right answer.
And
But
then if I had to choose between y'all and the Guardians, I'd say I really am not sure. Just because if the Guardians are able to beat the Yankees, I'm
I
going to
think
be.
I think the Guardians have a better chance of beating the Astros than the Yankees do.
I kind of see that as well, just because y'all have experience together. Played each other a lot in the postseason, and there are a lot of the same pieces, and so I feel like y'all kind of know almost the formula to kind of beat the Yankees.
Yeah.
And the
Their pitching
Guardians,
staff doesn't
I just
scare
feel
me at
like,
all.
well, I mean, Cole has to. You can't say you
Not
don't still
really.
like Garrett Cole.
Not really.
Come on, dude.
I've
He was
seen
your
Garrett Cole
boy.
I've seen Garrett Cole in big games.
I mean, that's true, but he pitched his ass off last night.
Yeah. He did fine last night.
But for me, the only reason I'd say it's harder for me to choose between y'all and the Guardians is just because there's always this team in fall baseball that
Yep.
just has the magic. And the Guardian, I know the Phillies are kind of riding some magic right now with being able to take out the Braves. And shit, I'm trying to even keep up now. Who'd they beat to get there? Oh, the Cardinals.
The
They beat the
Cardinals.
Cardinals and the Braves. Two of the best teams in baseball all season this year. So the Phillies have some of that magic riding too.
Yeah. I mean the Padres beat the Mets and Dodgers, 2 100-win
yeah,
teams.
dude, you're definitely right. See, so that's why I would be a little bit nervous if I were the Astros, just because the other 3 teams seem like they
Right.
got some magic flirting with
There
them.
was a scenario, like a legit scenario, where the Padres could have won the World Series and beaten 4 100-win teams along the way. Because they could have beaten the Mets, the Dodgers, the Braves, and the Astros.
Dude.
There was a path for them to
Well,
face 4 100-win teams.
even if they do end up winning it all, damn.
Yeah, it's
Damn,
impressive.
that's impressive. You lose your star like face of the league
Mm-hmm.
for the majority of the year, and then
The
when
whole
he's about
year.
to be back, well, I was gonna finish, but
No.
you're definitely the whole year. But you lose him for the majority of the year. He's about to be back, and then he gets popped for some shit, and then you lose him for sure the rest of the year. Like,
Yep.
and to be able to even be where they are now, I'm very impressed by that. And man, it's tough seeing all these former Rangers having success in the post. Because I mean, Clase, the closer for the Guardians, he
You
was
got
in the Rangers.
you got one inning of
farm
Corey Kluber
system.
for him.
Exactly, dude. Like,
And then Kluber turned around and pitched a no-hitter
against us
against
in our
you.
ballpark.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh. But yeah, every single postseason, I see multiple ex Rangers doing their thing.
Yeah.
If that's one good thing that the Rangers are good at is
Helping
getting
other
talent
teams.
for other teams.
And how do you let go of Emmanuel Clase? Like, that should have been a fireable offense. He shouldn't have lasted as long as he did after that trade.
Well, there's a lot of people that agree with you there. So
I know. He's the best GM in Rangers history, though, so you got to give him that.
I mean, yeah, he definitely turned us into a contender for a while.
Yeah. That's probably
was
enough
a
on
lot
the
of fun.
Rangers.
I know, right? Hopefully, though, they spend big again. I hope they're the number one spender in the offseason again, and then we'll be talking.
Yeah, maybe. Who you got tonight if they actually play tonight?
It's a bullpen game.
I'm taking the Guardians.
I want to take the Guardians, But I've already said that I think this is the year the Yankees make it back to the World Series. So I guess I'm gonna have to double down on it.
All right.
I
I don't know.
like the Guardians though. I
Tonight's such a
really do.
toss up. Like tonight is such a toss up.
Dude, baseball, game 5, game 7. If you're the team
Who
that was
knows?
down in the game before, you just want to hope and pray to get there because you know it's anybody's ball game at that point.
Yep. Anything goes in winner take win or go home games. Easy for me to say.
Game 5's game 7s. And I guess
Yeah.
technically game
Game
3s.
threes
Yeah,
now
so
too.
yeah.
So just win or go home games.
Yeah.
Put up or shut up games.
So I guess the Chargers kicked a field goal. We are now tied 10-10. Broncos do have the ball driving from the 25, their own 25-yard line with 50 seconds left. So most likely with Russell Wilson, they are not going to get any points.
Yeah.
And then they actually get the ball to receive this. Like, holy shit, he's throwing a deep one. He's got, oh no, they might actually get some points. I had to speak it into existence. 47-yard pass.
A few years ago, Russell puts that out in front of him and he's still running.
It's a touchdown. Yeah.
His arm strength is not. I mean, I know he's got the injury, but still, that was pretty badly underthrown.
No, I mean, dude, it's so hard. People don't realize how hard it is to be so successful in the NFL for a long period of time. It
And
is
at his
not as
size,
easy as, dude, exactly. It is like that's why Drew Brees first ballot Hall of Famer. Like a dude that size being able to do what he did. But like, not very many guys come along and can play in the league for over 10 years and have success constantly. And that's been Russell Wilson until now.
Yeah.
So,
all right, with that, let's get over. Well, I guess before I know you're not supposed to pat yourself on the back, but I think that was a really good baseball segment. I think you did really well.
I think you did too.
All right.
That was fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed myself greatly.
Just a couple steam heads.
Almost forgot we were even on a podcast.
I know, right? We were just talking, man.
Thought we were back.
That
in
was
the
good.
Days when we used to work together, just arguing.
Yeah, talking in the van, trying to kill time, so we don't have to
right.
knock in 110-degree weather.
So let's start with the big one, which was Bills Chiefs.
All right.
The two best quarterbacks in the NFL?
Yes.
I think so.
I'm there.
I was thinking about this earlier. Like the NFL
currently,
if the NFL knows what they're doing, and I think that they do.
Usually.
When it comes to stuff like this, what I'm about to suggest, they usually know what they're doing. You got to put these two teams on the schedule against each other every year in the regular season, at least once. And I guess it would be just the once. Because I was going back, like this needs to be this generation's version of Peyton Brady, Colts Patriots, where they played. I went and looked it up. The Colts and Patriots played every single year between 2003 and until Peyton left.
Damn.
They played in the regular season and sometimes faced again in the playoffs. But they faced each other in the regular season every single year. Every single year they played in the regular season. Why?
They're going to do it.
Because there was the two biggest stars in the NFL at the time. And they were, rivals for being the best quarterback in the NFL. And so they had them face each other every single year. And it was always a good game. It was always close.
I think they will. Because, I mean, obviously they played in the regular season last year. Then in the postseason. They played in the regular season again this year.
Yeah, this needs to be Peyton
Hopefully, and Brady. I agree. I think so. And it's just so hard because there are a lot of really good quarterbacks now. Like it's a little top heavy, but it's still there's more really good quarterbacks than I think there ever has been. But I do think Patty and Josh are the top two currently in the NFL right now. Because
So
I mean,
that needs to develop into a true rivalry.
I
Like
think
we
it
had,
is, and the best part about it is it's a respectful rivalry.
yeah,
Like it's a rivalry. They're starting to like have a little bit of a rivalry going.
yeah. I
However,
mean,
they definitely
that's what the
respect each
Patriots and
other.
Colts
And
was. It
true,
was a respectful rivalry. It wasn't necessarily built on hate. It was just built on, I'm going to be better than you.
right?
Now,
It
it's
wasn't the head coach screaming, "Game's over, fuck you" or whatever, like
yeah,
Cowboys Eagles.
right. Now it was kind of a weird rivalry in the sense that like for the first like 5 years it was always Brady beating Manning, and then the next 5 years it was Manning beating Brady almost every time they faced each other. But yeah, this
We don't
this has
even
the
know what it
potential
feels
of
like to beat
being
Brady.
no,
You
not
want
a
to know
lot
the
of
sad thing?
not a lot of people do.
Yeah, you want to know the more sad thing though? If I technically was like a Falcons fan, neither of my teams would ever beat Brady.
Yeah, it's a good thing you're not a Falcons fan.
I know I'm not. I don't ever really. I mean, I watched a little bit with Vic back in the day, and that was about it. Anyways, back to the big one.
So Bills beat the Chiefs 24-20.
Hell of a game. A little bit, dare I say it, boring towards the beginning. More of a defensive matchup, and/or they just weren't really on the same page
Yeah, I
yet.
mean
Or
it was 7-3 deep into the second quarter.
yeah, it was not as flashy as and exciting as it has been in the past.
It woke up in the second half though.
They definitely woke up in the second half. I'm sure you probably saw, or maybe you didn't, floating around Tony in the first quarter when it was still 0-0 with like 5 minutes left, was like, Jim, I mean, neither of these defenses are going to be giving up a lot. I just see this as a grinding out game. It's going to be more like a 24-20 kind of ball game. And then boom, it ends up being 24-20. So that's pretty awesome. Um, I honestly think the Chiefs could have won this game.
I mean, they definitely could have. They had the ball with a minute to go, down 4 with Patty Mahomes. Like that's
Patrick
when
Mahomes actually made a couple questionable passes,
it happens. It
which
happens.
is
You're
gonna
when
you make risks.
yeah, like
You take risks.
I
So
don't necessarily want my quarterback to like you don't want your quarterback to throw a ton of interceptions, obviously. I also don't really want a quarterback that isn't willing to have interceptions, if you know
right.
what I mean. Like I want a quarterback that's going to take the risks, because in order to be great, you have to dare to be great. You have to
Oh, for
take
the
those
longest
risks, and
time,
you're going to throw interceptions.
my favorite way to look at that and to like argue with people about it was Brett Favre for a very long time was the record holder for passing touchdowns and interceptions at the same time.
Yeah.
And
And I don't
Jameis
know if you
Winston a
want to
few years
be
ago did the same thing.
I don't know if you want to be that aggressive, because Favre was kind of overly aggressive at times, kind of like
It hurt him.
Romo. As much as I love Romo was overly aggressive at times. So that you got to find a balance, but
I
like you
love
don't
that you included him with Brett Favre though.
I mean, he idolized Brett Favre growing up. He grew up in Wisconsin, in like
Very
that
similar, yeah.
area,
And that's why he was
and
as aggressive.
and he played a lot like Brett Favre. He wasn't as
Yeah.
good as Brett Favre, but he played a very similar game to Brett
I
Favre.
heard he grew up wearing Levi's. So kind of oh man.
But anyway, so I want my quarterback to take risks. Sometimes it's going to backfire, but sometimes it's gonna lead to the incredible.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for him, and this time it led for it bit him. But he completes that pass. They go down and score a touchdown and win the game. He's a hero.
I mean, that's true. The one that I thought was real bad was the one in the end zone. I don't remember which
Yeah,
one that was.
that was I think into the
Before
second
Buffalo went and
quarter,
scored.
wasn't it? The first interception was a little bit earlier in the game,
Oh
I
wow,
thought.
this is perfect. They're showing highlights of it right now at halftime. So
Yeah, they
no, it
jumped all
didn't.
the way to the third quarter though.
Yeah, they did. That was quick. I didn't get to see what I was trying to see. But no, that one was bad because at that point, honestly, I thought he was trying to just throw it away, which would have been the smart thing to do. Instead, he threw it to where there were 3 Bills and 1 Chief.
Yeah, I
So
think
like,
he was trying to do one of those where you throw it to where my guy catches it or nobody catches it, and he kind of underthrew it.
that sounds about right, but it's just you don't expect Patrick Mahomes to do that very often, and I
Yeah,
really think that was the difference in the game. But it was a hell of a game. I mean, like we both said, the Chiefs definitely had a chance to come back and win at the end, but Buffalo does have a good defense. So
they do.
Buffalo's defense stepped up and they were able to get
And
that
Kansas
pick on
City's
a
defense has
not
been
so
better
great.
this year than it was last year too.
I agree.
I know it
That's
kind of
true.
fell off for a couple of years there, but this defense this year, it definitely looks a lot better than the
And
one
that's
that they
why
had
we
last
had a
year.
little bit of a drop off on the scoring because
Right.
both defenses were playing pretty good, especially early on. So that one was really exciting. It was fun. It second half lived up to the hype. The last couple times they played though, the whole game lived up to the hype. So
Yeah.
I
Can't wait
wanna I
until they
wanna
face in
hopefully
the AFC
that's what I
Championship
was gonna
game.
say. I agree. The hard part is well, I want to say the hard part, but they keep losing. The Ravens. I mean, I want to see Lamar in a championship game. I kind of do, but at this point, I do think it will end up being Bills Chiefs again, as long as the seeding lines up correctly.
I think they're going to be the top 2 seeds. So I think it
So
will
it would
be,
be,
I think it'll end up being, those two matching up in Buffalo
as long as
in
they take care of
January.
business.
Yeah. As long as they take care of business, which don't really have that much doubt that they will.
True, but you just never know what happens. Especially, I mean, I actually wanted to even kick off the NFL segment today, and I forgot. But man, another any given Sunday, like so
yeah, there
many
were some
teams that you
weird
were not
results.
expecting to
Some
win.
definite weird results. I wanted to pose you this question. And this is
Okay.
kind of we're 7 weeks or 6 weeks into the NFL season. We're a third of the way through. I wanted to know which of these is more surprising to you.
Okay.
The Jets are 4-2. The Giants are 5-1. The Raiders are 1-4. And the NFC West, which we had talked about maybe being the best division in football,
We did.
has 3-3 teams and 1-2-4 team. And that 2-4 team is not the one you would think it would be. It's not the Seahawks. It's the Cardinals, who lost to the Seahawks by 10 yesterday. So which of those things
And
is most surprising to you?
it's so hard because it's all very
I
surprising.
know. That's why I put
All
these
very
4 down.
surprising. So if I had to rank them, I'd probably say the Giants are number one. I
Giants being
was
at 5-1 is ridiculous.
I was not expecting the Giants to do this at all. At all. Especially with what they did in the offseason. They didn't really do anything in the offseason. So like
Mm-mm.
I was like, all right, we're gonna get the same old Giants. Well, no. They have improved and we still think that they're a bad football team that keeps winning
They
games.
are a bad football team,
But
Chase. They are.
but dude, it don't matter. It don't matter.
Yeah.
uh so that is probably the most
Like
surprising.
the Giants are going to end up winning the division. They're going to be in the NFC Championship game, and I'm still going to be sitting here like they're a bad football team. Stop. They're
Right.
bad. You can't tell me otherwise. They're a bad team. Like Doyce, they're in the NFC Championship game. No, I don't care. They're a bad team.
Not true. It's impossible. No,
Your
I did
eyes
actually
deceive
just
you.
I did just trade for Barkley.
Barkley's
I
been
traded
incredible.
for Barkley and DeAndre Hopkins.
Honestly, their best
But
offseason addition was a healthy Saquon Barkley.
big time, definitely. Which I wasn't expecting either.
How
But
can you?
I traded Justin Jefferson for both of them.
Mm. The one you were telling me about with Hopkins.
Yeah.
Okay. I think you're gonna win that trade.
I hope so. I hope that goes. I mean,
If Barkley
it
stays
looked
healthy.
decent this week. Yeah, we'll see what happens with Hopkins too, coming back this week.
Coming into the week, I saw that he led the NFL in all-purpose yards.
Yeah. I'm not sure where that stood afterwards because he didn't have necessarily the best game, but it wasn't a bad game. So
No, I mean he rushed for what was it? Had it here somewhere.
I guess we'll go ahead and talk about
80,
that one
80,
because,
83 yards.
dude,
It is
was
just
not expecting that.
well, like this game is at least explainable in that Lamar Jackson was kind of awful in the fourth quarter.
True. Lamar Jackson made some
Like
very questionable passes again, and they
he had a
weren't
pick.
good.
He had a pick towards the end of the game that led to
Mhm.
a Giants score, and then he had a fumble or strip sack. I don't remember exactly what it was.
Strip sack.
Where he held the ball for too long. You can't just sit back there and let the rush get to you like that. You got to move around a little bit, especially if you're Lamar freaking Jackson. You can move around.
Yeah, and the
I'm
Giants
not really
took
sure what he
full
was
advantage
doing.
of it.
And that ends up being was that a scoop and score?
No, not a scoop and score.
Or was it
But they ended up scoring
they
off
ended up
of that.
scoring. I know that. Because
Right.
it was 20-17 when that happened.
Mm-hmm.
And
No,
so that's how that game happened. That's how the Giants won this game was a couple of costly turnovers.
yeah, and I mean, turnovers are going to help you win football games, but
Absolutely.
man, Lamar, he's looked rough so far this season.
The last
And
couple of
what?
games. The last couple of
Yeah,
games.
I will say, I mean, it ended up being a 4-point game, but Justin Tucker did actually finally miss
I
a
saw that.
50-yard field goal,
I
so
saw that
that
first
was
half.
big, right?
Yeah, that could have come
But
in real handy towards the end of the game. Those 3
right,
points. Maybe
I agree. Yeah,
changes the way the game is played down the stretch, I think. If it's 23-7 or whatever it was before going into the fourth quarter, I think the Giants were down 2 scores going into the fourth again. Oh, game 5 is rescheduled for tomorrow at 3.
oh man,
So they didn't get the game in tonight, which means I can turn off
dang.
this other TV.
Yeah, that would explain why Darren's playing video games on the other TV now.
But
So
yeah,
G-Men win 24-20.
still makes no
They're
sense to me.
5-1. Who would have thought that the NFC East was going to have the best record at this point in the
Right.
season? Not me. I would not have
No.
thought that.
NFC Beast.
Yeah, at this point. I was super surprised also. Another surprising one, the Falcons. Now,
Yeah.
I honestly think that without that crazy roughing the passer call last week with Brady, the Falcons had a chance to maybe win that game. Now, it didn't look like it for the majority of the game,
Yeah.
but in the
They
fourth
almost
quarter, they
could have
were able
stole
to come.
one.
Yeah, they almost stole one. Are the Falcons better than we think with Marcus Mariota? Because Marcus Mariota is actually playing pretty well.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, damn, I was saying that, but he's 13 of 14. Really great completion percentage,
Yeah.
but only had to pass 14 times. But you got to remember, Cordero Patterson on the IR should be coming back soon. That should help them out. I do,
I
because
think
you
it's an
can't really
early
take too
season
much
blip.
away from the Niners, or
I'm not
just the Falcons winning a
I'm not
game.
necessarily sure how good the Niners are.
I don't think they're very good either, but their defense is their strong point, and to give up 28 points to the Falcons, who haven't been one of the best offensive teams this year. Now, Kyle Pitts did finally score. It was his first touchdown in Atlanta in his career. Which the coolest part about that, they were wearing their throwback uniforms from the 90s with the red helmets, which were awesome, by the
Dirty
way.
Bird era.
And he threw the dirty bird down when he
Nice.
scored. It was awesome. I enjoyed that. But yeah, they ended up pulling it out 28-14. Jimmy G not looking so great. The 49ers in general, like what's going on with Debo? Don't know. Brandon Ayuk finally busted through with 8 catches for 83 yards and 2 touchdowns. That was his best game of the season. But dude, you've got playmakers You've got playmakers, and you're not able to get it done. George Kittle looked a little bit better than he has. He also had 8 catches. Oh wow, 8 catches for 83 yards as well. So they had a decent game. I guess Debo ended up having 7 for 79, but that's subpar for Debo. I mean,
Yeah,
he's the type of guy where he's got to get more than that.
you got to get more than 14 on the board.
Yeah, you do. You just do. Like I really do like Jeff Wilson Jr. I think he's really good too. So you've got playmakers: Kittle, Ayuk, Debo, uh, Jeff Wilson Jr. Get him the ball. Just get him the ball. Let them do some things. Now, like I said, he did a pretty good job of trying to get the Ayuk and Kittle the ball now. And like I said, I guess it ended up being 7 catches for Debo. He must have had a couple late because early on it did not look good for Debo. Man, Niners not looking so good.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just not necessarily sure how good that team is. So I mean, we'll see. It's still early in the season, but
True.
I know that they with the monsoon with the Bears game, and I guess you can kind of explain away a couple of their losses, but
Well, and coming into the season expecting to have one guy as your like
that too.
main guy, and then it changes after 2 weeks. That's tough, but we'll see what happens. They're in a tough division, like we've talked about. Regardless of if if they're all good or not, it is still a tough division to play in.
It's a close division.
Yeah, exactly. So
I looked at the playoff picture today. If the playoffs started today, there would be, I can't remember if it was 3 or 4 3-3 teams in the NFC that'd be in the postseason.
That's why, yeah, we lost to the Eagles last night, but the Cowboys are looking fine. If we're able to hang now, I mean, I guess you want to just go ahead and get into that one.
Yeah, we can get into the Cowboys.
So
can we finally move past the Cooper Rush should start over Dak Prescott thing? Are we past that now?
Past it. You and me were already moved past it. We both agreed that Dak was
Cowboys
be the
Nation
guy
move past
back.
it now?
I hope so,
Can
man,
we please?
Because that was dumb. Because yeah, we were winning football games, but if you looked at the numbers and you just saw the eye test, like yeah, he wasn't turning the ball over, but that was about it.
Yeah,
he wasn't.
Just watch the game. Like actually watch the game. Don't just look at the final score and say, "Oh, this quarterback is that, and that quarterback was this."
Yeah, no,
don't do that.
Because
don't be
he
that
was
football
not.
fan.
He was not being able to get a lot of good completion. Like he was getting some completions. He wasn't getting. There were no deep passes being completed.
Yeah, he's not a terrible quarterback. As far as backup quarterbacks go, like he is very serviceable. He's fine. Dak Prescott gives you a chance to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, no, Dak is the man, and if we had him even last night, maybe we win that football game. Now, I will say the first half, I thought we were in for a long night, a very long night. It did not look good. We were able to get a field goal late. I thought Noah Brown had a touchdown in the corner. He got 1 foot down and then his butt hit the pylon, and it was very, very close. Now, it would have been very generous to give it to him, so I kind of understand.
Yeah.
However, I wish it was. Anyways, we ended up getting a field goal out of it, so we ended up going into the half down 20-3. But then we come out of the half, score a touchdown, get the ball back, score another touchdown. All of a sudden, it's 20-17, and dude.
So I did see where this is kind of becoming a theme with Philly, where they are great in the first half, and then they kind of let teams back into the game. Like if you look back at some of the results, there's been a couple of times where they didn't score at all in the second half, or where they were up 20 and a team came back and they, barely held on in the second half. Like there are some chinks in that armor.
I mean, there definitely are, and we kind of showed last night. I really think that the Cowboys were in a great position to win that football game, even though shouldn't have been.
Yeah, really good drive by the Eagles to get down there and score that last touchdown to basically put it away.
And that is what makes me just a little bit nervous about the Cowboys, just because our defense is so good, and that's kind of our strong suit right now. And that was when we needed them the most. And Philly was able to get it done. Now, I don't want to take
with
too much
teams
away
going
from
for
Philly.
2 when they're up 9 instead of kicking an extra point to make it a 10-point game?
So
It's not like you're making it
don't
a
know.
2-score game if you get it. It's still all right. It's not like you're making it a 3-score game if you get it, or you're not forcing the team to get 2 touchdowns if you get it. If you get it, you're up 8, or you're up 11 instead of 10. The other team still just needs a field goal and a touchdown. Now they just need to get a 2-point conversion as well, which if they're going to, move the ball that much in that short of time, they're probably going to get the 2-point conversion. I just don't get that logic.
This is going to sound kind of crazy, but like I've thought about this so many different times. I've thought about this so much. Why in certain situations people are going for 2 and
it's like
really,
when you're down 14 or
I think it's
you're down
because
14 and you go for
they're
2
putting
and
the
you
ball in their
score.
hands. They're putting the game in their hands.
I
They're like, hey, if
guess.
we get this, we're going to have to force them to have to also get that. And if they don't,
I guess.
they're done for. Because if not, a PAT is way more common to just hit.
Yeah.
So I feel like they're just
you're
trying
also
to
putting
say,
yourself in a situation to lose the game instead of it
Agreed.
going to extra, instead of it going to overtime. Because
and we've seen it multiple times where you go for 2 at the end of the game just to do it, and they don't get it. I'll never forget one of John Gruden's first games as the head coach of the Raiders again. Not way back then. I'm not that old. Not one of John Gruden's actual first games, but when he was coaching the Raiders a few years back, one of his first games, they decided to go for 2. Actually, you know what? I think that was Jack Del Rio's last game or last year. Anyways,
somebody somewhere.
It was like early in the season. I think they were playing the Saints. They go for 2. They don't get it. They lose. And that is the gamble you take. I mean, in certain situations, I think wasn't there a college game where that happened recently where we were talking about it, or was that another NFL game? I think.
Well, Utah went for 2. Utah went for 2 on Saturday night and got it.
Right. That was to win the game there. But I want to say a few weeks ago there was one, and we actually talked about it on the podcast too. But I don't remember now.
Don't try to make me remember stuff we've talked about.
You're right. Dude, there's been so much sports. And dude, I didn't even realize it. Wednesday, Mavericks are in Phoenix to play the Suns to kick off the season.
Already?
Yes. Dude.
All right. I guess we're going to have to try and. No, there's too much going on. There's too much going on to do to try and. We got to wait until after baseball. Once baseball is done, we can start talking basketball again.
Oh, well,
unless something crazy
I'm gonna end up having to throw some stuff out there at some point. But yeah, no, it'll just we'll be pretty structured, and I might just throw a little.
Like I love basketball. I love basketball. We talked a shit ton of basketball when we first started doing this, but there's too much going on right now. Yeah, there's too much going on.
There is. I agree. We'll make it work though. We'll make it work for all you fans out there of all the different sports. We'll make it work.
So I at least want to get
football.
I got one more thing I at least want to get in
with the Cowboys or the NFL.
With the NFL.
Okay. Let me double check real quick.
Okay. Is the starting quarterback next week for the Patriots Bailey Zappi or Mac Jones? Because from what I've read, Mac Jones is ready to go next week.
Okay. I'm actually glad you brought that up because I forgot. Oh, no, that's something else. I saw something today. Dang it. I guess I didn't screenshot that. He is the first quarterback in NFL history to do something. I don't remember what.
2 wins and an over 100 quarterback rating.
That might be right.
That's what the stat is. But dude, there's a difference between this and the Cowboys situation. And the difference is that when the Cowboys have been starting Cooper Rush, it's been checkdowns, it's been short patterns, it's been backup quarterback offense.
It has.
Bailey Zappi's slinging it a little bit. He's throwing down the field. They've got the whole offense open to him. You don't see a lot of rookie quarterbacks that have the whole offense open.
No, but I will say when
To me,
he
that
had to
says they
take over
trust
for
him.
that team, well, also when he had to take over for that team, did the Patriots really have much to lose at that point? It looked like they were already going to go downhill, and if they were, you're going to get a top draft pick, and of course, Bill Belichick's going to love that and be able to add it to Mac Jones. If not, if you win, you win, you get Mac Jones back, and hey, here we go.
Yeah,
So
but now Bailey Zappi's played better than Mac Jones has played at any point
at any point, I don't know.
in the NFL.
I don't know. I don't know. Mac Jones looked good
I
last
think
year,
it's
man.
close. I think it's close.
I say they have a battle. It'll probably be a battle in practice.
Maybe
They'll probably have a battle in practice,
they'll probably go with
and
Mac Jones because he's the first round quarterback. But
that's usually how it goes. But you never know. Bill Belichick is different than anybody else,
he's the one
and
that's done
so
it before.
he would exactly. He's done it before. That's how we got Brady. Was he took over for Bledsoe, and Bledsoe was the proven should be the
Mhm.
next
And
Montana.
Bledsoe came back healthy, and he stuck with Brady.
Now the difference between that is Bledsoe was a free agent that they brought in.
No, no,
Am I thinking differently?
Bledsoe. You're thinking of
No,
Bledsoe and Tony Romo.
no. Bledsoe was not drafted by the Patriots.
Yes, he was.
No, Bledsoe was a starter elsewhere before
No,
that.
he wasn't.
Are you
I
sure?
promise you, 100%.
You might be
Bledsoe was
right. And I might
drafted
be
by the
wrong on that.
drafted by the Patriots in like 93,
Oh wait, yeah, that's
94,
right. I do remember that.
92, somewhere in there. Because he was the
So,
quarterback on the Patriots when they made the Super Bowl in 96.
so I think the guy that he took over for. Shit, I don't remember now, man. I saw something crazy. I did not. I for some reason.
Yeah, I knew that
Oh,
for
that's what
sure.
it was. He had the Bills in between. So he had gone to the Bills from '02 to '05.
Yeah, but that was after Brady though.
It was yeah. It was after Brady. I was you're right. I was kind of confusing it with the Romo timeline
Yeah,
because like that's
because
right. He
Romo
went.
took over from Bledsoe.
I was thinking, yeah, I knew that, but I was thinking that he had come there from New England and he was a because I remembered him being on the Bills, but I thought it was straight from New England that he came to Dallas,
Yeah,
and now I was just confused with the timeline. Anyways,
yeah,
yeah, Bill Belichick's done it before,
he has,
so
and he did it with a quarterback. Like doing it with Mac Jones is not the same thing as doing it with Bledsoe because Bledsoe had taken that team to a Super Bowl 5 years earlier. Bledsoe had been their starting quarterback for like 7 or 8 years at that point, and they had just signed him to a big contract.
but correct me if I'm wrong. It was later in the season.
No, it was game
It was
two.
early. It was game two.
I think it was game two.
Dang.
Yeah, I just watched all this recently, so that's why I'm.
I mean, yeah. I've watched a
Because I
little bit of
watched.
the whole. Oh, you watched the man in the arena.
Yeah, I watched part of that, and then I also watched. There's the 30 for 30, the two Bills, which is
Okay.
Bill Belichick and Bill Parcells,
Gotcha.
and it's interesting. I
I have
enjoyed
to
it.
check that one out.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
it's a good one. It's a 30 for 30, so you know it's good.
Hold on real quick. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if he would. I won't be surprised either way he goes, whether he sticks with Mac or goes with Bailey Zappi.
It's just something to watch, something to keep an
It
eye
is
on.
definitely something to watch. I mean, it seems like for a little bit they might both be starters in the NFL at some point.
Yeah, I've been impressed with him. I have.
He's looked good. I haven't seen. I'll be honest. I haven't seen too much um, of his highlights.
Like this
Because
dude was
during
playing in
while
the
they're
MAC
playing, I'm
last year,
watching Red Zone mostly.
right?
What'd you say?
This dude was playing in the MAC last year, the MAC,
I mean, they come
and
out of nowhere.
he steps onto the NFL field, and he's just like, "Let's go,
I
let's
mean, I saw a
go."
picture today, and it was Chad Pennington and Byron Leftwich as teammates at Marshall.
Yeah.
So they come out of nowhere. It happens. But no,
Man, that's a
I'd be
name. That's a
excited
blast
for
from
him.
the past, Chad Pennington.
I know, right? Speaking of which, the Jets. Oh man,
Yeah.
man, oh man. So I'm gonna be honest with you. People may not believe me. I don't care. On our weekly pick'em for our work weekly pick'em, I took the Jets.
Did you
I
now?
felt like I did. I
With the
actually put
points
a
or straight up?
straight up.
Damn.
I actually even put a parlay in with the Jets straight up.
Damn.
However, the Bucks were also involved in that parlay
Oh,
and they lost to the Steelers.
not
So
so
I
good
didn't get
there.
that one. But dude, I'm digging the Jets right now. I think they're finding some stuff.
Brees Hall is really
Brees
good.
Brees Hall's a beast. Zach Wilson didn't have a great game, but
Yeah,
he
10
was
of
good enough.
18.
He was good enough. He was able to do what he needed to do. But that defense with Sauce
Mm-hmm.
Gardner and
They had a defensive touchdown in that game.
yeah, Aaron Rodgers threw a pick six at home, which
Yeah.
doesn't happen.
No, it was a
Was it a
scoop and
fumble?
it was a
It
scoop
was
and
a scoop
score.
and score. Oh, you know what? I think he threw a pick
No,
six and it
or
got
was it
called back.
or was it no, wait. It was a
So much football.
blocked punt that came down in the end zone and they fell on it. Or was that a different game? There's a lot of football.
Will Parks 20-yard return of blocked punt. Dang, I could have swore maybe he threw a pick six and it got called back or something. Because
Could
I could have
be.
swore he did, and I was like, "Holy shit, he never throws picks at home, especially a pick six." Well, that was also their first home loss in like 15 games, which is crazy in itself. But for it to be the Jets, like, dude, what is going on with the Packers? Like,
Aaron Rodgers doesn't look the same.
he doesn't look great, but they're also not having a good time getting Aaron Jones or AJ Dillon going. So they're not able to get the run going.
Yeah, not since like week
He
2, week 3.
Lazard finally had a decent game the last couple weeks, but you've got guys like Dobbs and Lazard where you should be able to get some stuff done, and they just aren't. They
No,
now I
it,
do like
it
the
doesn't
Jets
look good right now.
defense. Yeah, back-to-back losses to the Giants and the Jets. Like if you would have said that to begin the season, I would have been like, "What?" But
Yeah.
that's football, and right now the Packers are in a tough way. But in his famous words back in the day, I'm sure he's saying to his locker room to RELAX, and I'm sure the Packers will at least end up making a run at the playoffs. I
Yeah.
don't know if they will end up making it. I already told you I picked the Vikings to win that division, and the NFC is kind of up for grabs.
It
So I
is.
wouldn't be surprised if they still ended up making it, but they're in a funk right now. You can't be losing to the Jets 27-10.
Yeah. Especially not when the Vikings are 5-1.
No, and yeah, they're looking really good too. Speaking of which, goodness.
You all right over there?
hmm Man, so I thought it was kind of crazy that Teddy Bridgewater didn't start,
But was
but I guess he
available.
had, yeah, but he was the backup and then ended up going in anyway.
Yeah, a little weird. A little
Little
weird.
weird. He had a decent game. He was trying to keep him in it, but the Vikings just look too good, man. They're they're getting stuff from everybody,
Mm-hmm.
and when they're able to get their guy Irv Smith going to get a touchdown, that was huge. Dalvin Cook with a 50-yard touchdown, that was huge. That was when they were only up by 6 at that point too. So that really kind of turned things around right there. And so that kind of put them away. Miami starting off 3-0 and falling to 3-3 now. Obviously, losing your
Yeah.
quarterback, I get it.
It's
Ty-
tough when you lose your quarterback.
Tyreek though looking a little hobbled. Left in a walking boot last week. Wasn't anything huge. It was just to help him
Yeah.
recover a little bit better.
Still
And then
caught a
this
ton of
week,
passes.
oh no, he's still Dude, he's on pace to have the most catches and the most yards. I bet, yeah, 12 catches for 177
Mm-hmm.
yards. Absolutely ridiculous. And then Jalen Waddle, 6 catches for 129 yards. Like that's the crazy thing is they're still able to get these guys targets and catches with the quarterbacks that they have.
They
So
just they can't
right,
finish drives. They're having a hard time
right.
finishing drives, which that
Against
comes down to the
better
quarterback.
teams.
That
Yeah, and
comes
it
down to the
does.
quarterback.
It does.
You have a better
So yeah,
quarterback, you finish those drives.
yep. So the Vikings 5-1 atop the NFC North, just like I predicted.
It's not over. It's not over.
I know. I'm just kidding. Um, and I mean, I want to say I've talked about just about most of the ones I want to talk about, minus Trevor Lawrence.
That was a pretty interesting game.
So Trevor Lawrence became the first quarterback in NFL history to lose a football game with 20 or more passing attempts, 90% completion percentage or more, 3 total touchdowns, and 0 turnovers. And they
Yep.
lost. 103 years of football, and that's the first and only time that has ever happened.
Yeah, and they even ran the
Damn.
ball for 243 yards as a team.
Against a
But
team that right now a lot of us would say is not as good of a team,
yeah, I mean
at least
that's
through
so
this
that
point of the season.
offensively that's the first time this season that the Colts have looked like the Colts
We
that I
thought they were
thought we
going
were
to.
going to be.
Yes. Agreed.
So they may be
And they didn't even
figuring
have
some
Jonathan
things
Taylor.
out. Right. So that they may be
Imagine when they get.
figuring some things out.
I do think that they got lucky that they ended up being able to get a tie out of that one game because
Yeah. Well, they were
that
lucky
could
to be playing the Texans.
well, true, but it could easily be 3-3 right now, and instead they're 3-2-1, and that's going to look a little bit better and help you out in the AFC. So, no, I think the Colts are kind of figuring things out. I mean, I've liked Michael Pittman Jr. from the get go. I think he is a number one. I think he stepped into that role pretty well. It just took a little bit of time for him and Matt Ryan to get on the same page. And then
Yeah.
Alec Pierce, the rookie, he's stepping up big now too, and he's starting to look like he's going to be a threat. And then if you add Jonathan Taylor back into that mix, look out because if
Yeah.
Matt
They
Ryan
may
can
still
figure
end up
things
being
out with
good.
him, I agree. I think they could, and that's also still without their best linebacker, Darius Shaquille Leonard. I mean, he he's becoming a little bit injury prone, so it might be one of those things where like they kind of got to get used to not having him. But if he is there, he's going to be a difference maker, and he's going to help that team a lot. So
Yeah.
the
It
Colts could end up being good.
might end up being their Sean Lee.
Yeah, but man, the Jags, man, they look so much better than a 2-4 football team.
I think the season's kind of gone perfect for them. You know, they kind of want one more year of getting a high
You're
draft
right.
pick, but they want to look
They're
competitive. They
taking the
want to be
next step.
competitive.
Right. They're kind of taking the next step, but yet they still get the benefits of being in the low part of the league. But I don't know if that's necessarily their plan, and who knows if that's going to end up staying that way because they looked really good against the Colts. They just weren't able to finish, like you were talking about with
Yeah.
the Dolphins. They just couldn't finish it. Now, so if they do start finishing it, who knows?
Mark
I mean,
the
four losses doesn't put you out.
the mark of a good team, the mark of a
Almost.
young team is typically you look good, you're competitive, but you can't
Games are
finish.
close.
But you can't finish games.
Right.
You can't put teams
And,
away.
and yeah, and if they can take the next step next year and have Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, Christian Kirk under that money he just got, uh, yeah,
Add another piece through the draft.
right. They're looking good.
Could be
So
on the upswing.
yeah, no, I'm liking what
That
Jacksonville's
division
doing.
doesn't have a juggernaut. Like it's there
No,
for the taking in the next couple of years if the
it was
Jaguars can get it
Tennessee,
together.
but Tennessee decided to get rid of AJ Brown. Like if they kept AJ Brown, I still think Tennessee would be the juggernaut of that division. But without a guy like AJ Brown or anybody like that, you don't even have any kind of receivers really in Tennessee.
Not yet. Not yet. Traylon Burks is going to be
I
that guy,
know Traylon Burks will be that guy, but he's not.
but he's
Very
hurt right
rarely do we
now.
see a rookie receiver end up taking that role and running with it right away. It doesn't
Yeah.
happen. It's usually a couple years.
Yeah.
So
No, I'm saying that's what I'm saying. That they don't have one right now, but Traylon Burks will be that guy.
yeah, and by then, probably Malik Willis time. So Tennessee probably
We'll
will be
see.
pretty good by then. We'll see. I
We'll see.
believe that is basically all I got on the NFL.
I'm good.
Kyler looks terrible. The Cardinals, I don't know what's going on over there. They do lose Marquise Brown for a substantial amount of time. Originally looking to be season ending, however, a second evaluation is now saying that hopefully maybe only 6 to 8 weeks. But they do go ahead and trade for Robbie Anderson, who did you see what happened to him yesterday?
No.
So the Panthers obviously are in trouble. They're not looking good. They're looking to trade a bunch of people. But then Robbie Anderson is not liking how it's going, I guess, and he's just bitching and moaning on the sidelines. They show him getting into it a little bit with people, with coaches. And then later in the game, he just walks by, I think the interim head coach. I'm not sure because I don't remember which one exactly it is. And says something else. And then both coaches basically just start like kind of yelling a little bit, and then they kick him off. They kick him out. He literally had to leave and go to the locker room in the middle of the game. Antonio Brown style in a way, not quite Antonio Brown style, but it was bad. And then literally today he gets traded already.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to be.
That's totally not going to blow up with Kyler Murray.
That's exactly what I'm thinking, dude. I'm like, I understand y'all want to try and get him as many weapons as you can, but one that's like that already, I don't know if that's a good idea.
Yeah. I mean, there's
now they do
certain
get
things
DeAndre Hopkins back.
There's certain things you put up with. Usually, if the player's like really, really good, when the player's not really, really good, there's not a lot you can put up with.
I agree.
And Robbie Anderson's he's okay, but is he good enough to deal with
drama
issues?
No, he's a player where you show up, you do what you're told, you go home.
It's like I always say with coaches, you know, because a lot of these coaches, especially in college, like these college coaches, I always use the Tom Herman example of people will say like, you know, well, why Texas fire Tom Herman? His record wasn't that bad. I was like, yeah, but he was an asshole. Nick Saban's an asshole, but you're not firing Nick Saban because Nick Saban wins. It's like,
well, he gets his players to play for him by being an asshole,
right?
There's a different way.
Well, Tom Herman's players played for him, but so like there's a scale, you know, like if you're not an asshole, you don't have to win quite as much to not get fired. But if you're an asshole, you got to win a lot to get fired. If you're an asshole, to not get fired. If you're going to be an asshole like Nick Saban, you got to win like Nick Saban. Because if you don't win like Nick Saban and you're an asshole like Nick Saban,
it's the hot crazy scale.
It is the hot crazy scale. Like how much do you win? How much do I want to put up with? If you win a lot, I'm willing to put up with a lot.
Yeah.
If you don't win a lot, I'm not willing to put up with it.
Yep. That's how it goes.
Be an asshole.
Unfortunately, that's how it goes in everything.
Yeah. So
jobs, politics, fucking.
Yeah. Just
anyways,
you know, moral of the story: if you're going to be an asshole, better be really good at your job.
Yeah. Like you, Doyce, asshole. But you kill it, man.
Yeah. I do my best. Try not to make too many distractions, you know. Watch Bull Durham every night and listen to the tenets of being a good pro.
There you go. Yeah, so it was a crazy Sunday in the NFL. The only other one that was crazy, I won't even say anything about it, but the Steelers ended up beating the Buccaneers. Kenny Pickett got a concussion, and Mitch Trubisky took back over. I hope so too. But yeah, a little bit of a crazy day in the NFL. And we've got a good one going right now still. 13-13. Yep. About to be the fourth quarter.
Got some good baseball happening this week.
Yeah, not till tomorrow though.
Yeah, not tonight. tomorrow.
Nope. Stars are losing right now. At least last I checked.
But I think that's
Oh no, Stars are winning 3-1 now.
Nice. I guess that's gonna do it for us.
Yep.
So everybody have a good week. Enjoy all the sports. I guess throughout the week it's just basically baseball, but enjoy the baseball and I guess a little bit of basketball if they're starting this week.
Hey, October 27th. Starting that day, there will be 27 days straight of football, college or pro.
Nice.
So
That'll be fun.
we're getting there.
All right.
Well, thanks for listening, y'all, or watching.
Yeah. Beards out.
Beards out.